So everybody say that tech is getting worse, but how much of that is actually true? Did tech actually regress? Or maybe we're living in the golden era of design again? These are the exact questions we're gonna answer today. And for that, we're gonna compare iOS versions that are more than a decade apart. On one hand, we have iOS 7, which was Apple's first ever major redesign, and on the other, we have iOS 27, which released 2 weeks ago at WWDC 26, following Apple's second major redesign. I already have iOS 27 developer beta up and running from the previous video. If you wanna see how I installed this, you should check that video out right here. But to get iOS 7, we have to do a little more digging. And there we go, we have iPhone 5 running on iOS 7.0 with Cool Booter, which actually lets you dual boot iOS versions on older devices like these. And obviously we have iOS 27. Just looking at the design, it looks very similar. Design language is more or less still the same. Actually, looking at the music icon, the Safari, design language is still more or less the same. But this is when we're talking about default icons, because on here, you can edit icons. You can make them dark, you can make them clear, and the clear can also be dark as well, but you can also make them tinted to choose basically any color that you like, and it looks glassy like that. But the first thing that really catches your eye is this. We have widgets on iOS now. We didn't have this up until iOS 14, which came out in 2020, but this is all home screen. What about lock screen? When a classic phone like this iPhone 5S completely blacks out on you, it's easy to assume the hardware is fried. But before you grab the tools and start ripping it apart, there is a huge chance it's actually just a major firmware crash or a really bad boot loop. Before declaring it completely dead, the smartest first step is trying a logical system repair, and that's where today's sponsor, TrollStore Reboot, comes in. Instead of dealing with iTunes errors or risking a full factory wipe in DFU mode, just plug the phone into your Mac or PC, Reboot goes in, refreshes your firmware, and fixes your phone, all without erasing a single byte of your data. Just like that, the system recovers, the screen is back on, and phone is completely saved. If you're dealing with a boot loop, a stuck recovery mode screen, or a random blackout on your phone, check out TrollStore Reboot at the link below. As you can see, the sound actually changed over the years. Always on display is now present on iOS 27, which wasn't a thing when iOS 7 was the latest. The language is still more or less the same. You still have status bar at the exact same place. You still have the clock at the exact same place. The clock here is just plain text on iOS 7, but on 27, here we actually have a glassy design, which looks absolutely phenomenal. The way you unlock your phone, here you basically slide right to unlock, have that beautiful animation, but here you also do swiping, but not to the left, but to up. You also have dedicated flashlight and camera buttons here. You don't have a flashlight button here, but you can still quick access camera by swiping up, which you can do on here. You can press the button to go to camera, but you can actually just swipe and get to the camera. Speaking of which, I think the design fundamentals are still the same, more or less the same. So I have viewfinder here, the shutter button is still at the same place. The recent photos can still be found from the same corner. All you have on iOS 7 is basically flash, HDR, and some preset filters. That's all you got. But on here, you can change so much. You can actually tap here, or starting from iOS 27, you can actually tap here and see so many options we have. But the way you use your phone is still the same. So to take a picture, you tap on shutter. Still have the same shutter sound effect. And to change between modes, you just swipe on both. And that's literally it. You can actually go to settings and change your stuff there, but you can also use Control Center, which was, by the way, introduced in iOS 7. We didn't have that before. And to get to that, you actually swipe up from the bottom. This is how it looks like, the first generation of Control Center. But on here, you actually have to swipe down. And as you can see, it looks fundamentally different. There are no similarities here. You can't even turn data on or off on here, but here you actually can do that. And that's basically it. This is very basic, but on here, you can actually customize it to your liking. So you can add controls, you know, so much to choose from. You know, you can even resize them. Or if this is not enough for you, you can actually go ahead and add separate pages. Please ignore this. See, I can add a new control here. Let's move to UI and the way we interact with our phones generally. Let's say you want to open an app switcher. You have to double press here, and that's it. This is your app switcher. This looks very smooth, especially with the icons. But the thing is, it's not the most elegant because it's not very fast. Like, when you want to swipe up them close, you actually have to wait till the other apps appear. And home screen shows up as an app here, which is pretty nice. But here, you have to swipe up and hold, and that's it. There is no home screen as a page, and to clear them up, you just swipe up, and that's it. It closes automatically, and when you don't have any apps open here, double press, you just get this, but here, you get nothing. Generally, what we're comparing here is flat and liquid glass. When you swipe down here from the control center, you can actually see this beautiful, beautiful glassy animation. Absolutely love this thing. But here you have this very basic, but actually fun thing, because like, look how it just bounces down. This is the old notification center. But you also have to consider what happens when you press the buttons. So on iOS 7, let's say you want to volume up, have this huge thing that comes out at the center of the screen, basically takes over your screen, and you can't really dismiss it. You have to wait till it goes back on its own. But here it only takes a fraction of the screen. Even on phones with no dynamic island here, this thing has a notch. It still only takes fraction of the screen, which is pretty nice. Which brings us to the last thing, which is customization. So here, realistically, the only thing you can change is the wallpaper here. This is all you get. You actually get quite a number of wallpapers. Or ringtones. That's all you get. But on here, you can actually do so much more. So earlier I showed you the icon customization, but that's not all. You can do lock screen customization. So when you long press here, you get this picker. Basically, you can make presets. So you just tap plus here, and you get so many presets already, but you can actually make your own. So here it is. I'm choosing this one. This is the custom wallpaper, and basically I can customize this. I can change the clock size. I can make it either solid or glassy here. I can change its colors as well. It is pretty good. And one thing is that here you have depth effect. So basically what this means is that wallpaper will sit above the clock. And you also have spatial features, so it can basically turn any wallpaper into a 3D scene. So now to answer the questions. Is Apple going back? No. Design is subjective, right? You might prefer the look of iOS 7 over the 27, but the functionality and the way you use your phone is just much more improved. You can customize your phone, and a lot of people complain that iOS isn't fun anymore. Yeah, people call this colorful because it really was colorful when it came out alongside iPhone 5C and 5S, and iPhone 5C had so many colors to choose from. It was really fun. This is also fun in its own way. These app opening animations, the glassy effects. iOS 7 had its own thing. I mean, the animations here are really smooth. But for practicality, I think we're at a really good spot. iOS 26, which introduced all of this glassy design, was a buggy mess. Basically, it still is buggy. They improved with updates and everything. iOS 27, even the beta, runs so well. It's much more optimized, especially on older devices. So I'm very optimistic about this. Let me know what you think below. Which one would you use today? And I'll see you next time. Peace until then.